It is. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the last Thursday in the month, and at my goal, every fourth Thursday of the month, I'm here to do your what we call empowerment moment with yours truly, Dr. G. This is part of the mission of the organization, my goal, which we exist to support families facing autism and other intellectual disabilities throughout their lifespan. We aim to create connections and provide resources. And I believe for the 17th year journey, I mean, we're marching towards 17 years of incredible meeting people, seeing lives change, seeing lives transform, seeing young people whose family were scared and not sure what was going to happen to them, go to college, have a life. We're seeing, families that just said, I didn't know how I'll be able to do it, day in and day out, pushing through, pressing through. So over time, I've come to realize how pivotal it is to have conversations. We were doing a program this past Saturday. It's called Social Life, Social Hour Life, and I had a family join us. And while we were talking, she said, "Are you a social worker?" I was like, no, by no stretch of imagination am I. But over time, as I've put on my own mask, as I get around brilliant people like my guest dad and who's not a guest, who's really become like a co-anchor with me on this journey, I've learned so much and I still continue to learn. And as I learn, my passion hopefully is contagious and it says really to ensure that people know they have value and they are valuable. So I always tell my mentees, you need to tell yourself, I am valued, I have value, and I'm valuable. So when you hear the word value, it means that it's important, it is precious. And so I love to be able to learn these skills and continue to impart that onto others. And when I connect with someone who shares the same faith, same values that I do, I'm like, let's go. And when have you ever entered a room and all of a sudden you just feel like the energy level is so low and you're just going to be like, come on, people, let's go already. Let's just put on some mask. Take off the mask rather, and let's speak and let's populate the air with joy. Let's just speak joy. Come on. And now all of a sudden people are laughing. Have you ever noticed that you can laugh about nothing? Like it's not even funny. And I bet you anything, somebody in the room will start laughing with you. And they will have no idea why you're laughing. That's why humor is so important. So when I meet people who have the same values, share the same thing, I'm just like what I call in love. So my guest today is, I am just totally like, I just love this woman. Cherie Castellano was with me last month. And she's so amazing. I just asked her and she said, I'll do it with you. And we started having this conversation about 2 years ago. And when she started her own organization called Volunteer, which is a nonprofit organization designed to get give, and grow peer support for survivors of disaster, trauma, and medical illness. This person who's so humble is a national expert in the field of peer support, over 20 plus years, 25 plus years of experience. And she's the creator of the reciprocal peer support model, which is then recognized as a national best practice in 2019 by the American Psychiatric Association and the Department of Defense Excellence Center of Excellence. So when I tell you that you're meeting with somebody who's just so precious, so humble, so brilliant, and willing to come back and have this part two of my conversation about staying resilient, because that's her work, that's her expertise. And she's right here in New Jersey. We were just chit-chatting before we came on live that we want to do a live program. So for my moms out there, dads out there, we're not going to exclude anybody. We will do the program and roll in it as long as you guys tell us you want more of it. So on that note, I just want to bring over Cherie. Cherie, thank you so much for doing this again with me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always being present. I am part of her board. The little knowledge that I have, I try to impart it.
Oh my gosh, little knowledge. My goal is a force to be reckoned with all these years and you with all your spirit and your service. So it's such an honor to be with you again, Genevieve. And over again, I'll be a regular guest if you need me because I absolutely positively love having conversation and sharing spirit and having sisterhood and all the good stuff that we as special needs moms and faith-based people, get to do. So this is an honor for me. So if it's okay, I see we have some attendees that I would love to just ask if it's okay. Is that all right, Genevieve, if I ask
Yeah,
them to
yeah, yeah.
introduce themselves?
Sure.
Yes, may I? So Noelle, are you okay with just saying hi and you're a little bit about you and your family and anything else you want to share? Do you mind jumping in here?
Yeah, hi, I'm Noelle. I'm a student in occupational therapy school, and I am working with my goal for my doctoral work.
Amazing.
Noel,
Congratulations.
yeah, I was gonna say, Noel, do you want to talk a little bit about your work and what the work
Yes.
you're doing with Michael so far?
Yeah, so I have been running weekly sibling support sessions, and those have just, sorry, my dog's in the background.
It's okay.
Um, those have just finished up, and I am working to write my research about some of those results that I've gotten from it.
Amazing. That is so amazing. So thank you so much for your work. And I will actually be someone who reads your dissertation when normally it's just whoever has to approve it and family members. But I am interested in hearing about what you're doing with my goal and so in awe of your spirit to serve and heal and support. So welcome, Noelle. I'm excited to have you here. Um, a day or AD, I don't know if I'm
Ade,
saying
yeah.
a day. May
Yeah.
I ask you to say hi a day?
Hello, my name is Adaronke Ade for short. I'm a mom of three, two on the spectrum. Sorry, I'm driving.
No, no worries.
Okay.
And you're
Um,
obviously resilient and a multitasker. If you remember
yes,
to
I
get
am.
on this while you're driving, I love it. So I'm not going to bother you so you can concentrate on driving. But
Thank you.
mother of three who goes to an empowerment session is my superhero. So you
Thank
probably
you.
can teach us about resiliency. But thank you. I'll let you go on mute. But thank you so much for introducing yourself and welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
so good to meet you. Thank you. And Sina and Nifi, I know we know you as our like major team at My Goal, but can you just say hi for a second for me?
Hey everyone, it's so good to see you again, Miss Cherie. For those who may not know, my name is Senna. I am a sibling. My younger brother Nick is turning 24 this year. And then I'm also currently the program manager for my goal.
Amazing. And changing the world and who I want to be in my next life because you're so cool. And Nifi,
Okay.
Hi everyone again. My name is Nika. I'm currently working as the program assistant at Michael, so I help Senna out a whole lot with the stuff she's got going on. And all the social media stuff you see, that's me. Advertising, it's me, and other administrative tasks, of course.
wonderful. Thank you for being behind the scenes there and letting us be together today. Thank you so much, Nifa. And it looks like I have it says S. Porter. May I ask you to just say hi, your name and anything you want to share about your family or being here?
Hello, how are you? This is
Good.
Shakira. I'm with Janae and she sent me the link and she said join in and I'm here to support. Hello. Hey.
Hey, hi, thank you so much for being here. That's amazing. Thank you so much for getting on. I see we also have Chris. Chris, can you say hi? Thank you, Shakira.
Okay. You're welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Hi. I'm sorry. I was running late. So I've
Just intro yourself, Chris, and
okay.
about you. That's all.
Yeah. I'm Chris. I've been with my goal for a long time. I have a 24-year-old. who's in a day program and an ABA program, and we're still getting used to those, but he's doing well.
Great. So glad to have you here. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So today, a little bit, I mean, I know, Genevieve was so kind and supportive to give the intro about my work, right? I always think about how we introduce ourselves as parents in special needs families. Like, I often lead with, I'm the mom of two children, right? One typically developing, one with developmental disability, and my kids are kids. My adults are 26 and 24. Um, and in my work, I have been so blessed to spend over 25 years. I was at Rutgers University. I developed the Mom to Mom program, which is the statewide resource for parents in New Jersey for their mental health with the Division of Children and Families. But I developed programming for peer support for people who were unique rescuers. I like to rescue rescuers. And after creating programs for police and fire and veterans, combat, all kinds of heroes, EMS workers, firefighters, everything after 9/11, I said, hey, we moms of special needs children and adults are rescuers. We rescue our children and our families and our husbands and our lives every day. So we deserve some extra peer support and some extra resiliency training. So what's interesting is a lot of what I'm going to be talking to you about comes from the military field, who back in 2010, when the soldiers had post-traumatic stress disorder, instead of looking at their suicide and their depression and their anxiety and saying, how do we make up counseling resources for them, right? It was, well, some of them are stronger than others. Some of them seem to, two people run into a building at 9/11 and one ends up the chief of police and the other one ends up an alcoholic and dies. Like, what is it that makes people rise in challenges? And is it like, are you born resilient? Are you, is it your education? Is it your background? Is it your gender? Is it, what are the things that make somebody resilient? Because unfortunately, we can't undo or unsee the bad stuff that happens during the course of our lives, right? It's pretty much inevitable. If you look at mental health research, we all have what they call ACE scores, which means we have either adverse childhood or other kinds of trauma, vicarious trauma in our lives throughout the course of our lives. And when we think about our lives, we think about how did we get through it? So many times when I think about my son is doing so beautiful, I always love to talk about how all the ABA and all the treatments and all the money and all the everything, seem to really, through the grace of God, culminate into my son being able to attend college and, through supports. And now he's in a graduate school program and he's a graduate assistant. And yes, on his way to getting a master's degree, and just a wonderful human who, in my opinion, is in many ways the smartest and most open and emotionally intelligent person in the family. But I say that to say, I think that I thought my son being diagnosed with a disability was traumatic. I'm not saying that for anybody else. For me, I'm only talking about me personally. I thought it was traumatic. I thought, it was my fault. I thought that I did something wrong. I thought that he was going to have a horrible life. I thought that I wasn't going to be able to be his mom in an effective way. And so it was traumatic. And so the work that I was doing at the time with combat veterans and people in shootings and people, who experienced these horrible disasters like 9/11 or mass shootings and things, I was like, my world feels like a disaster right now. And so how do I pull from that work and make it valuable to moms and families who, we all stabilize. It's like this, it's a roller coaster, right? But for the bad parts, how do I help us to keep rising? So, the big thing for me is peer support, which is why you're here, number one, which is what my goal does better than anybody. And my peers, Genevieve is one of my peer supporters. So even though we all have degrees and write books and stuff, we all need our people who hold us up and who we can text or call or cry or, vent to. So I think it begins with that recognizing mom to mom connection, not necessarily the program, but the concept of that, having a person, like what my goal does, a safe space and somebody to connect to, and what we try to do in volunteer. And then I think the next piece after having somebody is sort of just looking at it very rationally. How am I resilient? So I think, when I think about resilience and I think about the science of resilience, we know that the military and the police, they do training, resiliency training. And this master resiliency training is based on a very famous psychologist from the University of Pennsylvania. His name is Dr. Martin Seligman. And what he says is there are 6 skills that all of us have. And these 6 skills, some of us are really good at one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, none of them. We're all different. But whether you're good at it or not, here's the great news we're going to talk about today. You can learn these skills even if you don't naturally possess them. So you are not born resilient or not resilient. You're not doomed or not. It's not your character flaw or strength. It's something you can learn, which I love when I think about that. So in that way, the first resilience skill, and the one I think is most important, is self-awareness. So what positive psychology says and research says is that we're always changing, right? As women, we sort of are in tune with that. We're always changing every stage, every phase, every role, every hat we wear. We don't stay the same. We're not who we were when we were 20, 30, as time goes on. And so if you are going to practice resiliency skills, you must practice activities that give you self-awareness. So we're going to do something very simple right now. And I'm going to say to you in this moment in time, not in the past and not in the future, tell me, and you can only use one word, and I'll throw some words out to you, but what is your resilience word for right now? What is the word that you would use that sort of gets you to get your head off the pillow or take that shower on the day things are going wrong with the family or you feel like you're burnt out or whatever? And those words can be things like, optimism or faith or family or hope, or, you can pick the word. I'm not trying to pick your word. But for me, the words change. For this week, my word is definitely it's faith again. It's often faith, but sometimes it's persistence, sometimes it's hope. But for me, it's faith because I've had kind of a difficult time on and off in the last few weeks emotionally. And I think I sort of get to be reflective. And in my own self-awareness, I turn to scripture and I turn to prayer to kind of understand how I'm feeling. So my resilience word is faith. Genevieve, I'm going to go to you next. I'm going to call everybody out here next. What's your
Awesome.
resilience word today?
My resilient word today is rock.
Okay.
Christ is the center and he's the rock
Okay.
upon which I stand. And
Okay.
so,
Perfect.
yeah, and I
That's
love the fact,
foundation. Yeah.
yeah, I love the fact that you said it changes. So,
Yes, it
yeah.
does. Thank you so much, my love. Sina, what's your word today? Your
I
resilience
wouldn't
word.
say it's one word. I'd say it's like one thing.
Okay.
For me, it's always like if I get one thing done, if I accomplish one thing on my list, I've done enough because I'm very much someone that like my list is 10 things long and I get
Yes.
frustrated when I don't accomplish everything. So
Yes.
if I get one thing, I've done my part.
Amen. I love that. So getting it done, get one thing done. That's it. That's a cool mantra. Okay, Shakira, what's your resilience word today?
Mine is grateful.
Mm,
No matter what, someone is always in another place where you're like, you know what? I'm grateful. Let me get on up and do this.
beautiful. That's amazing, Shakira. There's so much research that grateful people are healthier, they live longer, they have better relationships. So good for you. It was like you got the best word. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, honey. Chris, let me hear your resilience word for today.
That was not the first thing I thought of, but I'm kind of the same way. But the first word I did think of was hope. So
Hope.
yeah.
Beautiful. So you just stay hopeful. That's perfect. That makes you strong. Yeah, that attitude makes you strong. I love it. Thank you. Noelle, can I hear from you your resilience word?
Yeah, I would say strength. I think a lot of people forget how strong they are, and I think that's a great thing to remind yourself to power through.
Beautiful. And it looks like we have lovely Patricia. Welcome, Patricia. We're just talking about how we're strong and what is a word to describe how we get through the hard times. Like, what's your resilience word, love?
I would say change, and also just like saying that I want to change and making a difference. I'm working in the school district now with children on the spectrum.
Mm,
So every day when I wake up in the morning, I feel so tired, like everything. But when I think about what a difference I'm going to make an
yes,
impact in their life,
yes.
it just
That's
with my
it.
coffee in my
It's
hand, my water on the other side. When they get to
coffee water.
behavior, don't get me wrong, I'm like, "Ah." When I
Yes.
see them, like this morning, one of my students was we're using the word minding. So we using two words. So he said help. And I said, I need help. Then he said, I need help. It was like, oh my God. Everybody said clap. He like, yay! Because all we just want just one word, but he used more than one word. He said, I need help. So that resilience just like, you know what? Just to kind of, okay, no matter how tired I am, just going to make a difference in their life is
Perfect. Perfect.
something I
You,
wake up
we
doing
gain,
every day.
we do, sweetheart. You're so right, Patricia. We gain resilience from service, from seeing how we impact children and people in our lives. It gives us power. So I love that one. I love, love, love that. Nifa, did I ask you your resilience word, honey? I'm sorry. I got to keep everybody in the mix here.
No, my word is breathe. I think sometimes when you have a lot of things to do or you feel overwhelmed, you kind of just dive fully into work and you forget to just like center yourself and to come back to like your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you breathe, you come back to being in touch with yourself. That's beautiful. Ade, beautiful hand raise. Go ahead, love. What's your word?
Mine is actually strength. But since Noel picked strength, I was like, wait, did she know what's going on
It's okay.
mine?
You can have the same word. It's all good. That's
Yeah,
yours is
so
strength. Yes.
I would say persevere.
Yes.
So the reason why I'm choosing that is, it's a season. Some things will pass. So
Yes.
everything is for a season, and
Yes.
just persevere and stay strong.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to keep it moving because you're giving me all the answers I want to hear, which we got the right people on this session, Genevieve. So one
I
of the
think
things
Shakira has her hand up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Shakira. Go ahead, love. Shakira, did you want to share something, honey?
Cherie, my word is believe. You got to believe that you can and make a difference in what
Oh,
you're doing.
oh, that's beautiful. Is that my girl with Shakira? Is that
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
I didn't even know that was my Janae, my
Yes,
sweet angel Janae. Okay, so I got 2 for 1 in that screen.
yes.
So my Janae, you said it is believe because you just believe
That
that
you
that
can do all things because
yes,
Christ strengthens you.
yes, through Christ who strengthens you. Amen, my sister. Thank you so much, my Janae. So Janae, introduce yourself for a second too, honey. I'm sorry, I just had Shakira talking.
Hey, hello, hi, how are you? I'm Janae. Um, I'm just excited to be here. Seeing everybody, loving everybody, and knowing that everybody can make a difference in what they're doing.
Amen. And Janae is a volunteer peer counselor. Janae is a dear, dear friend and sister to me. And Janae also works in a school with, who are you caring for now? I mean, no names, but young,
Special needs celebrate the children in Denville.
celebrate the children, working with special needs youth.
Yes,
How old is the student you're one-on-one
7.
with? How
He's
old?
7.
7. Yep. So you're working with a 7-year-old who has not too much language, right, honey?
Right. He's nonverbal, complete nonverbal.
Right.
And just being able to make a difference, helping him to learn his shapes, his numbers, his alphabet. Because in September he knew none of that.
Yes. Amen.
So
You're like Patricia with the service being inspired, right? It's beautiful. We have people in service to others. So thank you. Thank you too. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to move on and tell you that oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to share something? Are you good? I think we're good, right? So I'm just going to tell you that in that self-awareness, one of the things that you can do is just ask yourself, whether it's at the beginning of the week on Monday, when you're getting started and you say, what feels strong about me? What do I feel like I can use if there's something that is going to challenge me or aggravate me or stress me out? Or, we all have a little bit of that in life. So what is my resilience skill going to be this week? What is the tool I'm going to put in that toolkit to be able to face the week? Some people like to look at it at the end of the week and look at their whole week at the end on Friday and say, hey, I realized I was pretty resilient. I could have yelled at this person, or I could have not gotten out of bed this day, and I got up and this is how I did it. But having this self-awareness of your resiliency, of what it is and that it changes is really important. So that's number one. Number two is what we call strength of character. A lot of times we hear about people, seeming like they act like they're one way, but their behavior doesn't line up with how they act, right? I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just keeping it real. We're a small group here that, just because you think you know, truthfulness is a character trait of yours, if you're walking around telling stories to people, the idea of your is not really how you're acting, right? So we want to always make sure that if we think about our character, what is the strength of my character? We usually think about things when we were younger that our mother or father or grandmother or somebody said, like, listen, this is the thing that if you got to keep one thing pure and good and true in your life,
You're good.
am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You were further before.
If you have to keep something good, what is that going to be? And so for me, for example, when I was younger, my family said, Cherie, you came out of the womb saying thank you. You are so grateful, but you should stay grateful because you have a lot of gifts. You don't want to get all full of yourself. You don't want to be conceited. You don't want to be looking down on people and judging people. Like, your character strength of gratitude has to be something that keeps you humble. So be humble and be grateful. And that was a character strength that my parents kind of said, this is an important one. So again, I'm going to ask you, Genevieve, whether it was coming up or more recent as an adult, like if I said, give me one character trait, like a strength of character for you, that's an important principle you live by. What do you think that is?
I would say empowering others.
Empowering others.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just really because I feel like I get energized when I either help to communicate something that they didn't understand and the
Yeah.
light bulb goes off for them.
Yeah.
That's a character trait. So on the flip side, then being very careful that wanting that for them doesn't become a stress to them, right? Because
Oh,
sometimes you see that people are capable. You want to get them to see their gifts and
yes.
talent and they themselves are not walking that journey yet.
Yes.
There's sometimes a need to push them, and you can push too hard.
Yeah.
So while there's a need to empower others, being mindful that it's a time and place to do that. And that's what I
Gotcha.
had to learn about.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm not going to ask everybody to answer this one. You can put it in the chat if you want to keep it moving. But does anybody want to speak on like a trait growing up that somebody sort of embedded in you that you believe in, anything that you want to share? Otherwise, like I said, you could put it in the chat or you could just unmute and say it. Anybody else want to share? Okay. All right. If you, like I said, as time goes on, if you want to chat it in there, chat it in there. Oh, we have Lilia joining us. Hi, Lilia. Welcome. Can you unmute and introduce yourself, dear? We're just talking about resiliency. Are we good?
Yeah. Lily, are you there? You might come back.
Okay. So anyway, okay. So number two, strength of character. I think the kinds of things that you can think about when you think about strength of character, that you believe in being honest. You think honesty is the best policy. Some people say, I think, I was brought up that you have to, serve others, and that you have to be in service as a character trait, or that you have to be careful with relationships and respectful to your elders, or there's all kinds of things that people grow up understanding about their character. And so, I think for a lot of parents of special needs children or families, we are hardworking, right? We are selfless. I think selflessness is a character trait that a lot of us have. Integrity, doing the right thing when no one is watching. Amazing, Shakira. That is so perfect and so, so true. And so again, thinking about, I think in this culture we think about, if we, didn't have the perfect parents, which who did, where we had difficult times in childhood, we talk about that and how that may or may not affect our behavior. But what do we take away that's good and true, and, to love the Lord, or to value friendships, or to put family first, or all those things are just important to think about when we think about our resiliency. Because again, that character trait is another tool in the toolkit if you picture this belt of resiliency. The third thing that Dr. Seligman says we can learn as women who want to be stronger is optimism. And so, I tend to think that people with this, I joke that people are born happy or sad, or optimistic or pessimistic. I mean, I know we all have somebody in our life who you think like, oh Lord, going to complain to me nonstop about everything. They're going to be complaining at the restaurant about the food. They're going to be, did I lose you?
No, you're there, but you're frozen. But we can hear you. Keep going.
I'm sorry. I think I might have froze up for a second. Yikes. Okay, I'm good now. So basically, am I good? Can you hear me now, Genevieve?
Yeah.
So this idea of, are you naturally a complainer, or are you somebody who looks at the glass half full or half empty? The thing about optimism and pessimism is that optimism is better for your health. It's better for your strength. It's better all the way around. And if you are someone who tends to be kind of critical or kind of negative, maybe again, you came up that way. Maybe you're an analytical person. Maybe you had a relationship or someone who hurt your feelings. So you're a little bitter, or a little, have a little left there. It's okay, because there's nothing wrong with having those kinds of reactions. But part of why we are not optimistic is usually because we don't want to get disappointed, right? So sometimes if I've been disappointed so many times, I don't even want to hope. I don't even want to, think about things being great now, because I'm afraid that if I think that way, I'm going to get disappointed. And so what we know about optimism is you can learn to be optimistic by just making statements like, this year, 2025, I will, fill in the blank, something good, right? I will rise. I will be happy. I will be healthy. I will, see my children thrive. I will get a new job. I will lose weight. I'll get a new place. Whatever it is, if you just make that statement, there's a power to those affirmations. So I'm going to force you to either write something down for a second, put it in the chat, or you can shout it out. Because if you say it, I'm telling you, you're making an optimism commitment when you say it. So I know we're a little short on time, but I'm asking you, Does anybody want to say theirs or do you want to go in the chat? Or you can write it down if it's personal. I'm going to say in 2025, I am going to keep rising because I'm retired and I am all about like moving up and serving God in a million ways, and I am rising. So in 2025, I'm rising. Go ahead, Patricia. What are you doing in 2025?
2025, I want to work on forgiving people, letting go of pain
Wow.
and anger.
You're so good. That's what I should have said. But okay, there you go. There you go, Patricia. All right, who else wants to go? Anybody want to say what they're doing in 2025 for their optimism? Anyone else in the chat or in the voice?
2025, I will sleep more and relax more.
I love that one. I should have picked that one too. I love it. So, okay, now you said it. We're going to check up on you, Genevieve. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, everybody else can just write it down, tell your friend, put it in the chat, whatever. It's okay. I'm going to keep it moving. But so to recap, the first three skills in resiliency are self-awareness, strength of character, and optimism, right? Now we move into the ones that are, I don't know, I don't want to say more difficult, but a little bit complicated. The fourth one is called mental agility. And what mental agility is what you have to have if you're around any special needs child, whether you're an aide, a parent, a sister, a sibling, or this or that. You have to imagine that with mental agility, the definition is the ability to shift and adjust when things don't go the way they were supposed to go. Okay. So you've met people who say, "Oh, I'm a type A personality. I got things got to be so we got to do this at 6 o'clock and this at 6:30, and this person's going to show up and they're going to do this." And then when that doesn't happen, they are off the wall. They're like, "I can't believe this. This is unacceptable." They're all freaked out, all upset. That's because they couldn't be mentally agile and adapt to the unanticipated changes. And what happens with us and our families is that our lives and our children, for those of you working in schools and who are siblings, it's completely disrupted at any given time based on the unique nature of our special families. So we have to become mentally agile. If we don't become mentally agile, we're miserable all the time, right? So that one's kind of like, I'm going to say we do that one naturally as a group because we don't have any choice. We can't say, "Oh, this is unacceptable. I'm not going to deal with it." What are you going to do? Not deal with the school, the child, the doctor? You got to deal with it. So, that one is, can't deal with that one. The number 5 that I love is connection. And this is the one that has to do with really what we're doing today. This idea that anything that I do when I feel weak, and I always think about scripture, wherever two or more are gathered, he's there. But like I can't do it alone, but I can do it with somebody, right? And so tell me about connection. And again, Genevieve, I'll put you on the spot first. I'm sorry, my co-host here.
No.
Tell me about when do you experience connection? Tell me that.
Well, I think you just described it, what we're doing now. And I'm also in a bunch of different groups, so within my faith community, I'm in a lot of different prayer groups. I'm in, different interest groups. And I was just telling Senator that I had to do a presentation today for work. And no, one was yesterday, one was today. One was the one that was live, and the other one was virtual. And seeing people and reacting to people's emotion and being in the environment. In the middle of the presentation, the computer died. Well, I wasn't in control of the computer. Yeah, it's an hour presentation and it dies. The advancer wasn't working, too big screen, room full of people. And I was fine, chill. Like, pick it up. They came back, they turned on the computer and kept it going. In the meanwhile, I had a different, same presentation, but in a room of virtual where you don't see anybody. It was hard. I
Yeah.
can stand in front of the people, computer not working. fine, but I'm sitting behind a computer and I can't see somebody else. And
Yes.
sitting in this thing like, so that's when I realized that I feed off of people. It
Yeah.
really, because I was telling Sana that she was like, how did it go? And I'm like, where I don't see anybody should have been easier,
Yeah.
but it was
But it was
not.
harder.
It was
That, yes,
hard.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Like before I got on tonight and I was tired, I was traveling. I was in DC yesterday and jumping off trains and I'm thinking, oh Lord, my hair's sticking straight up. How am I going to do this? And then I got on and I saw your face. And before we started, you were talking and your energy, I was like feeding off of that connection with you, right? So exactly the same way. And I think what happens is sometimes I'm just going to be generic here with us as moms or siblings or family members or teachers. I think that it's the connection is natural when we're happy. I think for me, when I'm sad, the connection is a little bit harder because I feel vulnerable.
Mm,
I feel weak. I feel turned in. I don't feel like I'm bringing the party to the table. And so connection, I tend to isolate more when
mm,
I'm sad. And those are the times that it should be the opposite. When I'm sad, I should be connected more and saying, hey, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. I need to. But again, this whole superwoman theory, that we all have is like, oh, I take care of everybody. What about us? And so I think with that, it is a with a connection, it's probably easier for most of us when we're happy than when we're sad. And we have to be able to do it in both spaces to build our resiliency. And then the last thing, because we're running out of time here, but all good, is something called self-regulation.
mm,
And self-regulation is the last resiliency skill. And what Dr. Seligman says is if you're going to be resilient and strong, you will find a way to calm yourself down
mm,
when you're upset. You will find a way to get yourself in a good, calm place,
mm,
rather than be all over the place with your emotions. We know when we get upset or when we get afraid, there's the theory fight or flight, right? Our brain chemistry changes, our blood pressure changes. Like if someone put tests on us when we get worked up or upset about something, our bodies would look different, right? There's that mind body connection. So if I can't affect what I'm exposed to, my child or my adult is struggling or having a crisis, or I'm fighting with family, or I'm fighting with somebody at work, or I'm just down in the dumps or whatever, and my body is and my reaction is affecting my mood and the way I feel. I have to say, oh, this isn't something that I am, this isn't good for my health. This isn't good for me. How am I going to calm myself down? Because sometimes we're lucky and we have people around us who say, come here, let me give you a hug. Or, we speed dial a girlfriend or somebody, yell at them, cry to them, and then whoosh, we let it out and we're good. Or our husbands, or even our children, right? Or best friends. But I think that figuring out how to calm yourself down is a really, really important thing. And what's so cool about this now, and I won't go too much into it, but we know because of the mind body connection and all the research that there are apps on our phone, there are breathing techniques, there are videos on YouTube. You just look at any one of these Fitbit million things and it says calm. I mean, there's actually an app called Calm, right? But you have to have the intention to go there and say, okay, I'm going to do square breathing. I'm going to listen to a song that calms me down. I'm going to pray in a way that the ritual comes. I'm going to go take a walk outside. I'm going to,
mhm,
I know we're not supposed to do this necessarily, but eat my favorite food, have a little ice cream, have a little something that makes me feel happy. So I'm going to take control of changing my mood so that I don't feel like I'm a victim of, right? What's
mm,
happening isn't happening to me. I control
mm,
I can't, maybe I'll have a reaction to it, but I control how I navigate that. So if something makes me mad, I'm human. It's going to make me mad. But if it makes me mad all night and the next day and I don't sleep and I keep thinking about it like a loop in my head, that's on me. If it makes me mad and I say, okay, go pray, go breathe, take a bath, go for a walk, go to the gym, do whatever you need to do to self-regulate, then we need to know what that go-to is. So I'm asking you again, this one I might make everybody answer, Genevieve, but you go first, my love. How do you self-regulate? How do you calm yourself down?
So prayer, you is
Okay.
really key. And now I've added, and I learned this from you when I did the peer resiliency thing. You talked about pairing an activity with something you want to change. So if you're if it's a new habit that you want to develop, pair it
Habit
as that
stacking.
you
Yes,
already,
yes.
yeah, that you do. So ever since I heard you say that's been almost over 2 years, I paired praying in the morning with walking at the same time. So even in my house, I'm like, so 30 minutes and I have my Apple Watch on. So so
Good
yeah.
for
Yeah, I
you.
started it and interestingly enough, my doctor recently when I saw her, she's like, you got to stay away from those carbs and you got to exercise. And I was like, yes. So what I realized is that when my body, I pay attention to my body. And
Yes,
when didn't get enough sleep or I'm tense, I could feel it in my body. The
yes,
praying and the walking
yes,
releases that stress. It
yes,
helps me to calm down. So then you get
yes,
perspective. So I realize
yes.
movement,
Beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna call on people now. I'm gonna ask Ade to tell me how do you calm yourself down? Are you there, my love?
I think she got off.
Okay. I'm sorry, Sina, can you share, my love?
Yeah, I feel like I usually will like take a break and do something that I enjoy doing. So for me, like I do my own nails. So every 3 weeks I sit down and I don't do anything productive for 3 hours and I watch my favorite TV show. This is like a way to take a break and do something creative.
Oh, that's so cool. And you're saving money doing your own nails, girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
I could not afford to pay someone to do the kind of nails that I like to do.
Oh, that's amazing. And I love watching your favorite show too. I've been like
Exactly.
binge watching Netflix things when I need to calm myself down. So I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Nifa, how about you? Do you have some way that you get yourself kind of centered or calm?
Yeah, I try to practice the HALT method. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yeah.
So I try to figure out which one I'm feeling or if it's
Beautiful.
multiple. And then if I'm
Amazing.
hungry, I go eat something. If I'm angry, I just try to go lay down or like watch
Okay.
something positive. If I'm
Yes.
lonely, call a friend and talk a little bit. And then if I'm tired, I'll go take a nap.
Beautiful. That was like you could have your own webinar on the halt. I love it. I love it so much. Chris, what about you, dear? What do you do to calm yourself down?
Think that usually I am feeling physical stress. I mean, that's when I notice it first. So usually I do go to the gym or more often it's more yoga. So like to really just stretch out my neck because I've noticed and my chiropractors noticed that like I am so tense in my neck. And so I see him pretty often. So yeah,
That's
I
beautiful.
need to stretch out because I physically I am literally
I love that.
stressed out.
Beautiful. You're talking soft, just not, it's not your fault. It's probably your equipment. So I'm going to repeat, everybody hears. Chris says she goes to the gym, she does yoga. Her chiropractor said stretching her neck and stretching, like that's maybe where she holds her anxiety. So that's brilliant, Chris. That's awesome. Thank you. Noelle, how about you?
I would say doing anything active really helps, and it helps like get my mind off of things.
Okay.
So like whether it's just going for a walk, like I think it also helps like getting outside of the house, getting some fresh air, things like that.
Yes. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Patricia, how about you?
I keep to myself. I just isolate myself,
Okay.
scream out loud, and just that's it.
Okay. Okay. Just that's beautiful. That's what works, whatever works for you. And Shakira and Janae, you both speak up over there. Oh, Ade, you were ready? I'm sorry, honey. Go ahead, Ade.
It's okay. Music does it for me, worship songs. Yeah.
I love that. Me too. 99.1's my best friend in my car and when I need to calm down. And that's such a good point. Thank you, dear. All right, Shakira and Janae. Are they there? Did I
Yeah.
lose them?
Yeah, you know, finding the mute unmute button.
Oh,
Sometimes.
you're good, girlfriend. Go ahead.
So for me, I'm like Dr. G. I'm in a prayer group every morning. So with me, I know it's not me. I always say, you know, let me. I just be like Jesus. I just call and it gets better. And even at my job, I work at a doctor's office and I answer the phones and people are always they're different when they get there, but when they on the phone, whoo. So it makes sometimes my body feels rumbly and I just say, you know what, Shakira, just thank God that you're not on the other end making this call. So calm down and be as much help as you can. And
Beautiful.
thank God that you're not in their situation.
Beautiful. I
So
hope
it
they pay you a lot
always
because
brings
you're a
me back.
blessing. You are a blessing. That is so beautiful that you look at it that way. That is amazing, Shakira. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Janae, what about you, my girl?
Um, when I get upset, I just have to take a deep breath and almost just tell Jesus take the wheel because he know how much I can take.
You could take a lot.
Yeah.
I
So
do.
you
I
do take a
do.
lot. So if it's a lot for you, Jesus is
It's
taking the wheel.
yeah, but most yeah, for real. For real.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
And I know you use that faith. I've seen it in action.
Yeah, absolutely. I just take a deep breath and pray.
Yes. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, loves. Anybody else want to share? Did I miss anybody? Anybody else want to say anything about that? So again, I mean, I think a recap of this is that they teach this to Navy SEALs and combat veterans and undercover police detectives. It's all this fancy resiliency training. And this is what it is. It's self-awareness. It's strength of character, right? It's optimism, it's connection, it's mental agility, and it's self-regulation. These are the 6 skills. And so with that, I mean, we're coming to an end. I'm going to pass it back to Genevieve. But I think, one of the coolest things about getting to do this with Genevieve is that no matter how tired I am or I'm last minute texting people, I remember things, I always feel better afterwards. I always feel like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I feel so much better that I got to be connected with these amazing women. And so, just that you all got on this is a sign of you doing something to build your resilience because you got a lot more self aware, which is the number one thing, by just talking about what are the things that make you strong, right? So with that, I'm just gonna say so blessed. Loving Michael, loving Vampire, loving being with you, Genevieve. I'm gonna turn it back to you. And thank you for letting me share this resiliency.
Oh my God, Cherie, I was taking notes. This was so good.
Thank you.
So I want to just get some people to give their reflection. What's one thing that you learned tonight? What's one takeaway that you got from what Cherie shared tonight? Anybody want to share before I talk? Pat, I'll call on you.
Oh my God.
What's one thing you
Oh,
picked
you
up?
um, I get to just be grateful for everything. Be grateful. Like I said, don't complain. Just be grateful. Every day is um it's just take a day as it comes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Senna? What's one takeaway?
I like the resilience word. I think it's important to put words to something that we want to be intentional about. So I like the idea of having it and that it's okay that it changes too, because I think sometimes you have something that you're holding on to, and then maybe there's a time that it doesn't work anymore and you need a new word. So I like the idea of being agile and finding the word for the season that you're in.
Yeah, no, awesome. Anybody else want to share what's one takeaway? I think anytime we come into space like this, we learn something. It's good to vocalize that. That's part of that process. I think one key word that you said that I love, love, love is the mental agility part. So in as much as many of us have been able to do it, it's an encouragement to all of us who have heard today that continue to be mentally agile. Don't allow the challenges of the season get you to the point where you are no longer flexible. You're no longer able to allow yourself to embrace something new, do it something different. That I think that's crucial. Like you said, that's a key component. I mean, I know because of time she didn't get into that detail, but this is the kind of work that she does. If you love it, put it in there, love it, come back again. And I think Lisa was watching us online. If it put it on there, Lisa said on Facebook, I pray, listen to music, and sometimes we'll call a friend. This is her mood for self-regulation. So if you love what we just did tonight and you want Cherie to come back, definitely. I love it. I think God has opened this forum. You and I talked about it. We've been trying to figure out ways to do it. And I think this is just a door. This year for our church, every year our pastor brings forth a word. And she said this is the year of open doors. You know, Revelations 3:8 says that he's placed before us an open door. An open door is definitely opportunities where we get to grow, we get to give, and we get to get. So getting in that mode, and this is all part of the work of volunteer, which she's been talking about and then her life work, is that how do we build connections? So part of that, and I started to talk this evening and saying my goal is just to support families and create connections. Not realizing that connection is one of the toolkit, what's in your toolkit for resiliency. And I shared an example of how being in an environment where there's no people present really created a sense of isolation and difficulty. So this is one of the pivotal pieces of why we do this program. And that's why if you're watching us, we would love for you to be a part of being in the room with us because you get to speak out and we get to hear it and catch that. So join us again next month as we bring that on. But at this point, I'm going to turn it on to Senna for a minute so she can share what we have upcoming. And definitely, Cherie, we're going to be doing this again as long as your schedule allows us. So it would say empowerment moment, but Cherie will be joining us, so this picture will get updated. So it's been the staple of what we've been doing. So put it on there for April 24th. All right, go for it, Senna.
Yeah, so like my mom mentioned, we'll have our empowerment moment again, as always, on the last Thursday of every month. I know I've been definitely been blessed by this, and as my mom mentioned, don't be afraid to join the Zoom room. There's so much that you get from interacting and spending time with not just our speaker, but also with one another. So definitely join us. Our bowl-a-thon is coming up. And we are so excited. So for anyone who hasn't registered yet, please register. And I will be demonstrating to help everyone who's not sure how to navigate and find their way over to our website. So if you go to our website at mygoalinc.org and you go to supports, you can click on our events and it will take you down to the month of April that has our bowl-a-thon posted here. And as you can see, we have our flyer. We will be meeting at Majestic Lanes in Woodbridge, New Jersey on April 27th from 2 to 5 p.m. So we really would love to see everyone there. We'll also have our flagship raffle items. And for anyone who has been to our events before, we do not play about our raffle items. So we hope to see you there. If you scroll down, it'll say register here and it'll bring you to our main registration page with all of our information, our grant recipients, which is one of our biggest programs. But if you click with our Bowl with My Goal, it will take you to our registration page. You can click on pre-registration for your child, adult. If you're looking to sponsor or know anyone that is more than willing to sponsor and support My Goal, I know many of us have been blessed by the work that this organization does and want to encourage you to continue to encourage those around you to support the work we do. So we have a ton of different sponsorship packages. And then we also have pre-registration as a team. So if you would love to come with your family or friends, we encourage you to pre-register as a team. It also helps with our lane assignments to make sure that everyone you come with is together. So please, 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 if you haven't already registered, I encourage you to do so. And finally, our My Goal grant program is still ongoing. This is one of our flagship programs and initiatives that we do with My Goal to provide financial need to families across the US that are in need of support for their child or individual with autism under the age of 18. So this isn't just for yourself. This is also for anyone around you who you know may be struggling or is looking for any kind of financial support. Our application is currently targeted to open until April 30th. Or if we hit our maximum number of applications. So we encourage you, if you have not already done so, please take a look at our grant application. All of the requirements are here on this website, as well as our main My Goal website as well. So please encourage, not just for yourself, but for those around you to take a look and receive the support that they need. And again, much of the money that is raised from the Bullathon goes directly back to the families that are in need and that are supported through the grant program. So we hope to see you on April 27th and seeing some more grant applications come in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Senna, for that beautiful commercial. Don't you just love her voice? She has like a personal TV voice or something. Radio voice.
It's not just you because you're her mom. She's everything
Exactly.
about her is beautiful. Yes.
So I was like, oh wow, she just sounds like, and it gets better and better. Okay, it's because she's my daughter. I could say that.
Exactly.
And I could put her on the spot. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Cherie. It was really powerful. We will continue the conversation because you and I talked about the additional tools that we can talk about next month. So join us on April 24th for that. And as we round up, there was a word of scripture that I wanted to just lift with us. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter. I'm a woman of faith, so is Cherie. Many of us here are. We get our resiliency from the Creator. And so, like we said earlier, there are things that we can practice, but one thing that we can be sure of is where we stand. And we stand when we stand on the word. And so 2 Corinthians 4:7-9 is the version it's a text that I was thinking about this evening. And it says, we now have this light shining in our light in our hearts. We ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this great treasure. Believe Christ in us. This makes us clear that our great power is from God, not from ourselves. We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We're perplexed, but not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed. So I just want to remind all of us that the Creator is with us and He will make sure through it all that you stand. Even if you get knocked down, you will get up again. So I want to leave us with that. I hope you're inspired by what we shared tonight. I am like you, Cherie. I am energized. Feel like I got my superpower back. I was
Yes.
tired.
Yes. And wait, I just have to tell you one funny thing. In the clinical world and with this famous psychologist, he says the definition of resiliency is more easily broken down as getting knocked down and getting back up. And you just quoted scripture exactly to speak to that point. Like, amen. Confirmation all the way. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much,
Thank you
Genevieve.
so much, everyone. So we hope to see you on the 24th, and then please register for our bulletin for April 27th. Talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone.